Hey everybody, welcome back to Yapping for the week of 6/24/24. Definitely didn't have to just look at that on my computer. This will be kind of a short one today, sort of an update video as what's coming soon, what videos I'm planning to be able to put out this week and next week, and talking a little bit about recent events and news regarding Elden Ring, with the controversy around the DLC being too hard, which I have a lot of opinions on, but we'll save that for later in the video. First off, my content plan moving forward. I know I talked about putting out the Destiny video last week, but I'd like to have some more footage for it. A little bit of what I was able to record the other day was kind of samey, so I hope to be able to, record at least like a little bit of Crucible so you guys can see PvP, as well as the PvE stuff that I recorded. I think that's probably the best way to handle it. Get a little bit of footage that shows more of the game for when I'm commentating about it. But other than that, Destiny video should be this week, hopefully by Friday or Saturday, depending on how my schedule goes. Probably Friday evening, if not Saturday during the day. That's the plan. But other than that, I plan to also have an Elden Ring video if I finish Shadow of the Erdtree in a reasonable time frame. I know I'm a long-time FromSoft fan, but even for me it's a bit challenging, especially because I'm trying to not play with summons and all that stuff. Even though some of the footage in this is with summons, because frankly I just wanted boss fight footage for the video. And I was like, let's just do what we gotta do to get that footage. But I think that's the perfect sort of segue to talk about the controversy with the DLC. I think it's so strange. From Software is a company that has been known for a long time and gained their fame, arguably, within the industry, the gaming industry, that they make games that are intentionally very difficult. They want to challenge the player. It's kind of like rosé, a certain type of wine, even if you don't want to use rosé. It's an acquired taste. Not everybody's going to like it, but maybe you like it. And when you like it a lot. That's sort of how From Software games are. I really like them, and I think that they're fantastic. But they're not for everybody, absolutely not. I have plenty of friends who wouldn't dare touch a From Software title because it's just not their thing. But the idea of people trying to twist this narrative that it's too hard. Buddy, that's what you signed up for. It's like eating a spicy meal and saying it's too hot. You ordered it. And I don't think it's on the chef when you say, make it spicy, and then go, why is this so spicy? It's not like you were expecting this to be, a cakewalk. I think people need to manage their expectations, frankly. I think some of it, in a reasonable manner, is that people are new to From Software. Elden Ring was their biggest title, and they are not used to the From Software DLC cycle. The DLCs are always harder than the base game, and they do that very intentionally so that it feels like a jumping off point for people who've completed the base game multiple times, or even just once or twice. And I think that some people were like, oh man, I have my level 150 something character, I'm gonna coast through the DLC. No shot. Wasn't even that way in the past. As much as people talk about, there's the new scaling system and everything. I guarantee you, if you beat the game and have a high level character, and you try and walk into the DLC in Bloodborne, you're getting cooked. And there's no other way to say it. And so it amazes me that people who praised the game for its challenge in the beginning have now decided that it's too much for them. And I don't know if that's because they got too used to playing at an easy level because they beat the game long ago, or just because they're, jumping on the hype train, cheesed a bunch of bosses, level grinded to reach the DLC, and now they actually don't know how to play. I don't know. It could be any of those things, but I made the title of this video this way, very intentionally. In the thumbnail as well, which you guys will see. I think it's kind of like when you're making bread. If you take the yeast out of the bread, you're not going to get a loaf. You're going to get this kind of flat thing, almost like a communion wafer. And it's not going to taste the same, it's not going to have the texture that you love, and it's not going to be what you want it to be. If you take the difficulty out of a From Software game, it becomes a game where you run around and hit stuff. If that stuff doesn't hit back, or rather, when it hits back, it doesn't hit very hard, or it's easy to avoid it, you're kind of just running around hitting stuff, leveling up a character, looking at the pretty backgrounds. And yeah, sure, that can be enjoyable. The game's beautiful and has a great aesthetic and an interesting story. But That's not what carries a game like this. And it's certainly not, other than I'd say maybe the artwork and attempt to make a fully formed world, it's not the center point. The story and world in a FromSoft game, or what you get out of it, what you put in is what you get out. It is not a story-first game. It is a ambiance experience-first game. And Elden Ring is especially an ambiance and experience-based game. It is to explore, meet new challenges, and overcome those challenges to progress further. And the game is more forgiving than other From Software titles because there's more places to explore, and you can avoid bosses and certain tough challenges instead of it being like in a linear pattern, like something like Sekiro or Dark Souls or Bloodborne. And I think it's just utterly ridiculous that people who played the original game would now desire to not have that experience again. Would you really want to just play the game for 2 days? I mean, I saw Kai Cenat saying a very similar thing. You want to just play the game and it be done? What kind of artwork is that? You know? I mean, really, take a step back. Games, especially games like Elden Ring, they're true art, like an avant-garde film. What are you going to sit down to watch, you know, like The Godfather or something? Not saying you have to like The Godfather, but sit down to watch like an artistic film like that, something beautiful, or an interesting experience. It doesn't even have to be beautiful. It could be like a horror film like Alien. How are you ever going to appreciate the artistry of this thing if you just don't experience it? You can't sit down 20 minutes into a 3-hour movie and go, I don't know, I think they've made it too long. It's a story. Now you can say it's just not for you. That's completely fine. But that's not really what we're talking about here, is it? We're talking about people saying something is objectively bad. Objectively terrible, actually, in a lot of people's takes. And I guess it's just not for you then. But I think there needs to be a discussion that something being not for you and something being bad are two very different things. And you see that a lot of times these days, honestly, in reviewing and, you know, the way the internet's getting, where if somebody doesn't like something directly and feels a certain way about it, they think everyone has to feel that way. And that's a terrible thing for artwork. Art is meant to, I wish I could remember who said this, but art is meant to disturb the comforted and comfort the disturbed. And I think a lot of people take that at face value and find it a weird quote, but really what it's saying is, if you're not experiencing the same emotion as someone who painted the painting, you probably aren't going to relate to it. You're going to just sort of see it, maybe you think it's pretty, but you're not there. But if maybe you're having a bad day and you feel depressed, and then you see a painting about someone going through the same thing, it's going to resonate with you deeply. The same is true for anything artistic. And I think that absolutely applies to Elden Ring. People who are looking for a challenge, something to persevere in, enjoy challenging themselves and surpassing their limits. They're going to enjoy a game that was created by someone who also loves that. But if that's not your jam, that's fine. But don't go telling other people how they should feel about something. And I think that's the terrible thing, and why I've also on this channel changed my review mindset a lot. I hadn't done a lot of negative reviews. I'm just not that type. I tend to like lots of stuff. But after doing just a few, I realized that I hate the idea of just sitting here and bashing on something. I'd much rather share things I love than go around bashing things I hate. And I feel like most people on the internet these days want to tell people they're wrong and bash something that other people like simply because they don't like it. In reality, I followed the 20% rule kinda, where it's 20% on one end, it's objectively great. 20% on the other end, or 20% total, bad math. 10% on one end is objectively good. 10% on the bottom end is objectively bad. Put those together, and then that 80% that's left in the middle is objective. I think that's absolutely the way artwork is, or anything in this life is. And I'm just so amazed that something that was so critically acclaimed and so loved can suddenly have just such a flip on it. And I really think it's two things. One, like I said, people not understanding what they want or thinking everyone has to feel that way. And two, I also think it's that the way media is becoming, people want instant gratification. They want a game that instantly sends dopamine to their brain. Literal brain rot. They want, the TikTok video injected into their head. Now, I know that that's a thing people say, and I'm not getting on people who enjoy scrolling TikTok. Do whatever the hell you want. But to go out and say, that other people shouldn't be enjoying it, or that something is objectively terrible and needs to be fixed because it's improper, is entirely different. I drink coffee, some people drink tea. Doesn't mean they're bad people for drinking tea, but it seems in this Elden Ring discourse that's absolutely what people think. And I don't know, I think that's utterly absurd. I have adored Shadow of the Erdtree so far, and I'm going to take my sweet time with it. Which is why, again, as I said at the start, I don't know when the review will be out. It's quite challenging, and it's a challenge I'm excited to face head on. And I've gotten some really great footage of the DLC as well, me fighting some bosses, going through some things. I'll try to keep the footage I get as little spoilery as possible, so when I talk about it for people who want to experience it, they can enjoy that. I'll try and keep mainline bosses out of it. But I've got a little footage like I showed today of some side bosses, optional stuff, or non-main fights that I think are really cool to show off. And I think I'm really excited to see where it goes. Anyway, like always, I'm just here yapping. And if you enjoy listening to me talking about all this stuff, or want to see me discuss other things, anything, media, music, games, leave a comment below. I love talking about anything, and I love talking about it with all of you. We've had insane support on this channel, my other projects like Superlunary, the music that I make, and even my edits channel have grown a good amount in the last year, and it's really surreal to see people support me, even on a small scale like this. It's really great, and I hope that we can keep growing the community, and this can eventually be something that everybody loves, and we can have these great freeform discussions about stuff and sharing different things we love. Because that's really what the internet's all about. It's about open access, open entertainment, everything. It's like Pandora's box, right? There's good and there's bad. Let's celebrate the good. Let's have a good time together and enjoy this life while we can. Probably a lot deeper than people wanted for a yapping video, but here we are. So, have you played Shadow of the Erdtree? Do you enjoy it? Do you like From Software titles, or are you more of a cozy gaming type? Let me know in the comments. Again, super happy for all the support. It really means a lot to me. And I will catch all of you in the next video. Thank you so much again, and take care, everyone. Peace.